Welcome to the worst with Chad Austin. Man, I have had a grueling couple of weeks. I didn't release a podcast last week. I'm sorry about that, but it was fucking 4th of July weekend. And I normally would record on a Sunday or a Monday or something like that early in the morning. But 4th of July just happens to be the biggest fucking day in the world for barbecue. And I run a barbecue restaurant, so fucking deal with it, bros. I cut the tip of my finger off. That was fun. I did that last night. God damn, dude. And it was such a fucking... Okay, so here's the thing. It's such a fucking rookie move. Like, I was cutting lines, right? And there's always been a part of me that wished I was a chef instead of a bartender, because I always found chefs to be way fucking cooler than bartenders, and I wanted to be cool. And so I tend to go, when I'm prepping fruit or whatever else, I tend to go at it like in the mindset of like I'm in the kitchen prepping, and so like I've gotten fast and good at it, and I was doing it not paying attention, and I was talking to a hostess that needed something, and I went to slice the lime, and I just went, and there it went, dude. And it fucking sucked. Like, it was weird, too, because, like, it's one of those things where it happens, and you feel it happen, because it was a fucking serrated knife, too, so you felt like, you know, that whole, and, but like you feel it happen, but then like after it happens, you don't really feel any pain, just because it's like the adrenaline's pumping, and you're just like, all right, I need to fix this really quick because it's still busy and I'm still working. So, you know, just ran the back, and my hand was covered in blood, and I rinced it off, and I bandaged it really quick and put a glove on, and I worked like that for the rest of the night. And then after the night, I took off the glove, which like was just like filled with fucking blood. It was really gross. I'm so glad that, you know, we have gloves and bandages at my work, because dropping off somebody's food to their table would have been really gross. Or, you know, handing somebody anything. Or even just being in the general vicinity of anybody when you're just hands soaked in blood. When you're working in a restaurant, probably isn't the best idea. But yeah, so that's what's been going on. Besides that, I've just been working nonstop because one of the other managers went on a tropical vacation. So I covered his shifts, and then he came home from said tropical vacation and got COVID. Now I'm covering his shifts again. Fuck, man. You know, so I feel like I'm going to record another one this week to release next Monday, because, you know, that is the normal schedule of things. But technically, this episode will be out for my birthday. It's my birthday next Friday. Turn 36. So, you know, there's that. I'm a 36-year-old who's been doing comedy for 3 years and run a very, very unsuccessful podcast. So that's my life right now. I don't know, man. I really don't care for fucking birth. I haven't cared about a birthday since I was like 21, and even then I felt like I was pretty blasé about the whole thing. My friends and family, we went out to Vegas for my 21st birthday, and like I wasn't even the one that had the most fun. Like, 2 of my friends got thrown in jail that night. Like, the first night we were there, they got thrown in the like I don't know if you know this about Vegas, but every major hotel has its own jail. And 2 of my friends got thrown in the Bellagio jail for touching a blackjack dealer's tits. And not only that, but like they were also just hammered drunk, and they were like bending cards and playing with the chips, so people thought that they were like trying to beat the system or whatever. You know, had their own system to beat it. So like they thought that they were working the table, you know. So that happened, and so the pit boss was already on their ass, and then leaning over the table to squeeze the breast probably wasn't the greatest idea after that. But I like, and then on top of that, like everyone was gonna go out to this nightclub, and the day that we left for Vegas, I'm one of those people that packs the last minute for anything I do, and it just so happened to be that I was hungover as shit, and I packed my bag, and then when we got there, and then like the night that we were going to go to this like fancy nightclub, I realized that I had only packed one dress shoe, just one. So everybody went without me. So it was my birthday, and I just like I sat in the hotel and like played a video poker machine and drank White Russians while everyone went to a nightclub. So it's like that sums up birthdays for me. And then I spend most of the time thinking like, wow, you're another year older. What the fuck have you done? And not to say I haven't done anything, but the things that I have done, I feel like anybody can do. Like I have a good marriage, I have a cool kid, I have a steady job, but like that's yeah, I feel like that if I was 36 in the 1950s, I'd be fucking killing it right now. That is because that was everything, right? Like fucking Leave It to Beaver type shit, right? I got the dog and two cats and a kid and a wife and I'm living life and steady income and things are fucking great. I just got a raise. Everything's fine. We're happy, but I'm not happy. I've never been happy. I'm a miserable person. And, you know, fucking birthdays, man. I just hope by the time I'm 40, I'm dead. No. I mean, kind of. Eh. Well, we'll see how it plays out. Maybe I'll like it next year or something. But okay. You know what? Here's something I did at age 35. I started to say, hey, you talk about all the time how you're tired of being a fat piece of shit, right? Do something about it, you fucking asshole. So you know what? I decided to do something about it, and I've talked about this before. That like I got shout out to the homie Nick. He's my coach, my life coach, and it's funny too. To, like move out to LA and get a life coach, but it's like it's fuck. I did. I moved out to LA and I got a fucking life coach. But yeah, dude. So and I call him a life coach because like he is making sure that I'm alive. um, so he put me on a diet plan and a workout plan and all this shit, and I am it's one thing I'm happy to say that I've stuck to it, and it's the first time in a fucking decade that I weigh under 300 pounds. I I came in. I'm at 291 right now. When I started this whole thing, I was at 338. Fuck with me, dude. I'm on fire. And also, like and you start to feel a little bit better about yourself. Like this is the first time since I've started this podcast that I'm doing it just wearing a t-shirt. Usually I'm wearing layers. Like usually I have either a sweatshirt on or a flannel on or something. So the main thing is when I started this with him, I said, "Hey man, I want to lose some weight." And he goes, "What is your goal?" I was like, "I want to look good naked and I don't want to have tits." And he's like, "All right, cool, I got you." He's all, "That's what I do. It's called body reform, and let's do that." So, needless to say, a lot of my workouts entailed with chest because we're trying to get rid of the tits, and they're getting smaller. They're not as perky. No, 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 they're more perky. They're not as saggy. I don't have old woman tits. I swear to God, if I just kept on the path that I was going to, I'd have like those ones that like if I was to try to jog, they'd be hitting my knees and shit. But it's so shout out to the age 35 Chad that decided that he was going to get his shit together a little bit. Um, and you know what? I would say I got my shit together more than a little bit because I also haven't done any drugs, and I haven't had a drink in 2 years. So that also makes me more of like a decent human. I feel like I miss it. Drugs are tight, but also I've realized in the time that I haven't done any drugs that I got a lot stupider, dude. Like my brain got scrambled with the years of hiding from myself in a pit of many different substances. Um, but yeah, man, fucking 36 on Friday the 15th, and I feel like I'm gonna record another podcast before that happens, which will be released the Monday after my birthday. So maybe that will be like the actual like I'll wear a cone hat and everything. Maybe even bring one of the one of those things, and hopefully, have a friend that wants to do the show with me so I don't feel like a fucking loser on my birthday. But I also record at 9 a.m., and 90% of the people I know aren't people at 9 a.m. You have to understand this, that I've been so busy lately that this is my only time slot where I think, hey, this isn't interfering with anything in my life. I can actually escape and do something that I enjoy doing because I don't enjoy anything else in my life. I have this and then stand-up comedy on the rare occasion that I actually have the willpower to leave my house after 10 p.m. Yeah, like it's just sometimes I think about it and I wish like, oh man, yeah, and it's weird too because like a grown ass man, right? Like I like having the freedom of having my own house, but sometimes I just think, fuck, it would be tight to have like 6 roommates and only have to pay for a sixth of all the bills and work a fucking part-time job and then go do whatever the fuck I want after that. Like I know if there's anybody younger listening to this, I'm sure my key demo is somewhere between like the 18 and 30 because all I talk about is like shitting and dicks and stuff. But if there's somebody younger listening to this, I want you to know that like it might suck living with 5 other people and having to like fight for the bathroom and constantly just smell other people's shit. But there is also a freedom in that, and you should enjoy it while you have it because once you decide that you're mature enough to have your own place, goodbye to fucking everything else. Goodbye. Man, it is such a task to stay on top of everything else. And it's just like, I'm doing fine, but I'm also late on half of my bills, but I'm doing fine. That's also another thing is I've talked about that before, but like I might have given up all the drugs and the alcohol and everything, but the coffee intake has gotten insane. The coffee intake's gotten so bad that my daughter worries about me. My daughter, my daughter thinks my heart's gonna stop. Yeah, it's I'm averaging around 15 shots of espresso a day. Average, and I have to do it to feel like a human. Um, and maybe it's not feel like a human. Maybe it's just like the whole addict part of my brain where it's just like you need something that's gonna make you not feel like you. And then it's coffee and it's nicotine. And I just found out that they banned Juuls, and I talked about it, but I guess they pulled back the ban until January 1st of next year. So it's time to stock up, baby. Because all the other vapes taste like shit. Like there's this weird thing that like all these disposable vapes do, where like you take a hit and it feels cold. Like it almost like resonates to like a mentholiness, but there's no mint. It just hits cold, and I feel like my lungs are drowning. Like I feel like that one feels worse for me. I just want a regular nicotine, tobacco flavored. I would still be a cigarette smoker if it wasn't for my kid. I guarantee it. Like I never wanted to quit. I did it so I just didn't smell like shit around my kid. So this is the only thing close enough to an actual cigarette that I, still fully enjoy. Um, but yeah, man, I don't, fuck, I don't even. Oh yeah, so I don't know. I guess I just wanted to tell you that jewels aren't banned right now. I don't even know where I was going with that. Let's get into a couple things, right? Um, I I saw the new Jurassic World. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't give a flying fuck if I spoil anything for anybody because that movie was the biggest pile of fucking shit I have. I don't know if I've ever seen, because there's been plenty of movies where I didn't even finish it because they were so bad. But I'm holding this to a higher standard because the original Jurassic Park was like fucking when you were at I was old, I'm old enough to, I went to the theater and remember seeing Jurassic Park in theater. Like, that feeling, there was a total of 7 minutes of fucking dinosaurs in that entire movie. You know that? There was 7 minutes of dinosaurs in that entire movie, but it made you feel like dinosaurs could really be coming back to life. It made you, it was one of those movies that it was pure movie magic. How did they do this? How did they make this look so perfect? Why the fuck does it feel like that T-Rex can kill me right now? Like, why are fucking velociraptors so cool? And, and then you get older and then you find out that velociraptors are actually in real life that big and you could crush them by stepping on them, and that sucks. But, and they're also covered in feathers, which is weird. But there's just like so many things about the original Jurassic Park where even if it's not, fully up to, I started, I got high the other night. Side story. I got high the other night and I started watching a video of like paleontologists and other dinosaur experts, I guess, talk about everything that a Jurassic Park got wrong about dinosaurs, and don't do that. It's a real bummer. It really sucks to just hear because there is a ton of shit that Jurassic Park got wrong, but it just the movie magic, man. The movie magic of Jurassic Park is fantastic, right? And then Jurassic Park Lost World came out, and that one was pretty stupid. Fucking San Diego T Rex, whatever. And then Jurassic Park 3, it's corny, but I don't give a fuck. I still like that one. I don't care. That one's still fun. The first Jurassic World, I fucking enjoyed it. Every time dinosaurs get bigger and weirder, and then, Chris Pratt's in it, and, that handsome Jesus freak is a really good actor. I like him. I don't, people try to cancel him for being a part of some church that, is pro I know pro anti or pro anti abort anti abortion, and like all that stuff. But just it's fucking at the end of the day, it's a fucking church, and no one cares. Just let the man do his thing. We all have our own things. Let him have his thing. Um, I think he's also married to like Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter or something like that. I feel like I shouldn't. I think I've said this before, but I feel like I shouldn't say Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think that in 2022, a white guy shouldn't be allowed to say that. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Um. So yeah. Um. So yeah. First Jurassic World, I liked it. Second one, I was like, yeah, all right. Got through it, and then it comes to this one, and it's called Jurassic World Dominion. Now, here's the first thing. My brain, for the past 6 months of seeing like movie posters and trailers and all that stuff, my brain, I couldn't even find it. My brain just told me that it was called Jurassic World Domination. Anytime I saw it, I was like, World Domination. Hell yeah, dude. Fucking dinosaurs dominating the world. Hell yeah, dude. And I got fucking jazzed on the name. And I was like, world domination, dude. So I would drive down Highland and they'd have all those fucking giant posters, and I'd be like, oh, dude, fucking dinosaurs are gonna dominate the world. And I was super. I'm not gonna lie. I knew it was gonna be corny. I knew it was gonna be corny, but I was still fucking excited for this movie because dinosaurs, dude. Have a sense of child wonderment still in your life. I'm 36 and fucking dinosaurs, dude. But yeah, so then I put it on. And within the first 5 minutes, I said, what the fuck is this? Okay, guys, dudes, bros. And I'll say guys, dudes, bros, because I know women don't listen to this. Guys, dudes, bros. I'm going to make a shirt that just says guys, dudes, bros. They went on some bizarre ass you could tell within the first 5 minutes that they had no idea, no fucking clue how to make this movie. They just knew they wanted to make this movie. So what they did was they made up this whole side story about how Biosyn, which I think is like because I think it was originally called InGen, was the name of like the company that made the dinosaurs, but now it's called Biosyn. And Biosyn created like these fucking gigantic locusts. They're like this big. And they're like swarming all these crops in the US, and they're destroying all the crops that aren't being grown with seed made by Biosyn. So basically it's like a global domination. World domination. They're dominating the world with locusts. So it's Jurassic World Domination with locusts, and then there's like this young girl that Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard are taking care of. Like they're hiding her in the woods or some shit. And it turns out that she's not like a little. She is a little girl, but she's a clone of another woman who was a scientist from the original Jurassic Park. But here's the thing: this woman that is now an integral part of the story because they're trying to save her daughter from these evil scientists has never once been mentioned in the entire series before. But now we're all of a sudden supposed to believe that she was the biggest part. She's like the daughter of the other owner of Jurassic Park that also was never mentioned. It was always just John Hammond, the Mr. DNA and welcome to Jurassic Park, that guy, right? It was John Hammond. And then there's this new fucking guy, I think his name's like Bruce something, that they're like, oh yeah, the other owner of Jurassic Park had a daughter, and then his daughter grew up around the dinosaurs and decided to become a scientist too, and she was like our top scientist, and then she was sick. She cloned herself. She was able to fix herself. She was able to like fix the DNA of her cloned daughter with some kind of injection, so her daughter didn't get sick because it should have been hereditary. And now we need to use her daughter's blood to figure out how to do this and that and that. And it's, oh, fuck, man! There was like 3 moving storylines, then none of them made sense. There was a point where they go to fucking. I don't know. I think it was supposed to be Italy. Usually Italy or Spain, like old buildings, cobblestone roads type shit. And they're in either Italy or Spain. And they find like this underground like dinosaur club. And it's like the dinosaur black market, because now the dinosaurs are everywhere. Like people are mating them and selling them, and like cruelty to animals shit. And so they're all being kept in little cages and being sold to the highest bidder. And then like they go into this underground, and all these people look like fucking modern day pirates and like back alley bikers and the sassy Sallies and all this shit. And like you see like Chris Pratt and them looking around at all these people like doing all their underground shady shit, and then you like look over and there's like two dinosaurs on leashes that are fighting in a pit, like it's like pit bull fighting, you know? Oh, guys, the dino like. Do you not think that the Velociraptors, especially how they're depicted in this movie, couldn't break a chain and kill the people on the edge of the pit? There's a bunch of people waving money on the edge of the pit that are closer to the dinosaur than the other dinosaur that they're fighting. Kill those people. But somehow the dinosaurs are only fighting each other? There is so much wrong with this movie. I hated it so much. And so I finished watching it and I text my sick bro, the one that I'm covering while he's recovering from his vacation COVID. And I say, I just watched Jurassic World Domination and it was terrible. And he writes back, you mean Dominion? And it wasn't until that moment, I kid you not, it was not until that moment where I realized that I had been thinking the wrong title for like, you know, half of a year. When he wrote back, you mean Dominion, I was like, the what? And I went back to my TV and I pulled up the title card just to make sure that he wasn't fucking with me. And sure enough, it's called Jurassic World Dominion. And when I found out the name wasn't World Domination, I hated it even more. Like that, I think that part upset me almost as much as the movie did. The fact that I had the name wrong the entire time and it wasn't as cool. Dude, fuck that movie. Oh man, you know, I was on YouTube the other day and I was going down a rabbit hole and I was watching a bunch of videos that led me to videos of like just incels talking, which is wild if you ever have a chance. But so I if you watched the last episode, obviously not last week, but the week before when I released an episode, at the very end I talk about this guy who makes he has a book called Semenology where he makes cocktails with cum. And on if you go to YouTube or the link in the description of the last episode, you can find the video of him making the macho mojito, where he adds frothed cum to the top of a mojito. I mean, fucking riveting mixology, my bros. But so I think it was a mixture of me watching incels rant and my past viewing of the macho mojito that brought me to losers in their bedroom vaping their own cum. Holy shit, dude. Like, I'm talking about, you remember in South Park when it was like the World of Warcraft episode and like all the guys that they were playing were like the guys that kind of just looked like a blob and they just sat there at the computer like this with like a wrist brace on and they had like a little goatee and they're like there was like crumbs in their beard and shit, and they really depicted what like an online gamer looks like pretty well, at least, you know, at the time of my growing up. There's a lot more now fucking gorgeous gorgeous, I'm not gonna say gorgeous children, that's weird, like gorgeous like fucking 16-year-old should be TikTok celebrities are making millions of dollars off video gaming, so that's completely changed. But back then, everybody that gamed all day long looked like that guy. So these are guys that look like that guy, which is obvious why they don't get any pussy or dick, whatever your preference is. So they're mad about that, and then they decide, hey, I'm gonna vape my jizz. And so they have, you know, the classic style vape with the tank where you fill it up with your own juice. They really did fill it up with their own juice. the one video I watched, this guy was like, so this is about 4 loads. So he say and I know those tanks, they hold like a half ounce of liquid, so this dude must just shoot dribbles. Like I feel like I can get a half ounce of liquid off of like a half of a load, but this guy saved 4 loads and then loaded up into his vape tank, and he was like, all right, no, so now we're gonna vape it, and he like takes like a little puff and then starts doing that, and then takes like a big rip and like blows it out of his nose, like he is a cum sommelier, dude. He is a he he's a semen sommelier, dude, and that might be the name of this episode, the semen sommelier. And he's like, I'm definitely tasting pineapple, and I'm like, no, you're fucking not. No, you're not. There's no fucking way, dude. And then dude, I swear to God, he goes into like, he's like, there's a hint of like a swine, maybe it's like a bacon, and it's like, he's having fucking pineapple pizza in his cum, like, and I don't know, man. I've never tasted cum, but it's not what I imagine it tastes like. Um, I imagine cum tasting like coconut water meets pickle juice with a hint of bleach. Like there's like the salinity of like coconut water and maybe like the viscosity, and then the pickle juice brininess, and then a hint of bleach. Like I feel like that is what cum tastes like, and that is probably like, that sounds like a really fucked up combination, and that's why I've never tasted cum before. And it's funny that that's the only reason I've never tasted cum. But if cum tasted like espresso, I would probably suck a dick. That's how addicted to coffee I am. Like people are like, I'll suck a dick for crack, dude. Like if what comes out of your dick tastes like coffee, give it to me, daddy. Ah, oh, God. This is what my life has come to. I'm talking about sucking dick for coffee. Somebody help me. So yeah. Yeah. So the fucking pineapple bacon cum. Maybe that's the name of the episode. Pineapple bacon cum. No, so I like semen sommelier. I think we're gonna stick with that. On other news, I'm sorry, but I'm going to review a few things on this episode because besides work, all I've done is go home and watch a movie until I pass out. So I've seen some things this week. Besides my normal, watching. There's a new great show on Hulu called The Old Man. I highly suggest you watch it. But besides that, I normally just watch, RuPaul's Drag Race and and then I just watch old movies, but I've been watching new things, and I need you to know about it because it's all I've been fucking doing. And what else am I going to talk about? For shits and giggles, mainly giggles, I watched Machine Gun Kelly's new documentary, Life in Pink. I think that's my rock bottom. I think that is my rock bottom of like if you could have a rock bottom of television, I think that making the decision to watch Life in Pink, the story of Machine Gun Kelly, might be it. And honestly, I'm gonna be fucking honest. I scrolled past it 3 times, and then I would stop on it, and I would look at it, and then I would wait to see what the reaction of my wife was gonna be. So I just look at her never, right? We never want. Oh, no, I was thinking about it, but no, never, right? It's fucking stupid. Kid sucks, right? No, but do you want to see what? Maybe it'll be funny. You want to see what it's about? I'm just gonna put it on for a little bit. I was waiting for her to leave me because of that decision. But she was a trooper, and I could tell she hated every minute of it, but she watched it with me. And I'm gonna be honest, when Machine Gun Kelly first came out as a rapper, like back in the while back when I first heard him, I was like, oh, the kid's got bars. He can rap, right? Little ghetto kid from Cleveland. And then I guess during the he claims that it was just like pandemic. He picked up a guitar again for the first time in a long time, and it was like, this is where I belong. But I think everybody agrees and feels like, no, dude, Eminem broke you in the rap game because you tried to come at him and he just destroyed you, and you said, I'm okay, I'm done rapping. I'm gonna make pop punk now. So Machine Gun Kelly is a pop punk artist now, and he wears really, really terrible clothing and sings songs like "Oh my God," like that voice, that fucking yeah. But see, there was something about Tom DeLonge where it was like I liked it from him. That nasally weird, like, "Hey mom, there's something in the bathroom." It sounded like it should be his voice. Machine Gun Kelly sounds like I've listened to a lot of pop punk, and this is what I'm supposed to sound like. And I mean, the guy is just. I mean, it's suiting, like the music is suiting, because that fool is an emo ass bitch. Like straight up, like the opening of the documentary is just him sitting in this fucking mansion, and he's sitting at his like kitchen table, and he's just doodling while there's a voiceover going on in his own voice, and he's just doodling, and it's like a doodle of himself, and like a thought bubble above it that says like, "God help me, I'm all fucked up." And I'm just like, fool. Like, yeah, dude, like we all have troubled past, but like get the fuck over it, dude. I mean, they say money can't buy happiness, and I don't believe that. Because the happiest I've ever been is when I've had money. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, having kid, good. Having wife, good. Having enough money to say, fuck it, I'm gonna go do something I really want to do, happy. Like, to be able to say, fuck everything else I'm doing. Dude, if someone gave me $1 million right now, I'd be so happy, because you know why? I could quit being a bartender. I could hang out with my family all day. And then since I've had the time to hang out with my family all day, I can go out and do whatever the fuck I want at night. I could record these more. I could do stand-up. I could do all this stuff. Like, at this moment, I'm paying money to talk to you. Not tight. But it's so, from the moment the fucking thing started, I was just like, Jesus Christ, you're an asshole. And then his daughter comes into play, and his daughter is a young girl, she's like probably 16 or 17 now. Like, he had her when he was super young, and she's very articulate, very sweet. You can tell. I don't want to throw any shade at the daughter, because you could tell that she has a better head on her shoulders than he does. The part that fucked me up, though, was he is fully everything he's wearing, even though it's like purposefully, like those rich people that wear clothes that purposefully look like shit, where it's like the cut's weird and there's like strategic placed holes everywhere. But the shirt costs $1,500. Like in every scene he's wearing something like this, right? And then it shows her, and her hair is all like fucking knotted up, and she's just like wearing like a what looks like a Target tracksuit, and she's sitting in front of like a project house in Cleveland, like half the time on the interviews. And it's like, I don't know if it's supposed to symbolize where he came from, but if it's supposed to symbolize where you came from, then why the fuck aren't you doing that? Why isn't your daughter in as nice of shit as you? Like that's the part that killed me, was like, get the girl's hair done and her nails done and make her feel like a fucking princess. But instead, all you think about is yourself. And then you have all these people that are on his fucking crew, like his fucking lackeys and shit. And they're all like, yeah, man, MGK's a good pops, yo. Like you know, like he cares about his daughter more than anything. Yeah? What the fuck? No, dude. You see her like what? From the documentary, it looks like you see her like 3 times a year, and he made it a point to put a scene in the documentary where he's like, got out of the studio at like 1 in. I caught a flight, and now it's 9 in the morning, and I'm on my way to my daughter's volleyball game. You know, just gotta do it. Gotta be a good dad, homie. You took a private jet and showed up to 1 game. Go fuck yourself, dude. You're not a good dad. Like, I can see the whole thing of like, when I'm around her, I'm present, and that's great. But being a good dad is being there for them at all times. Like, I have given up so many fucking opportunities and different things just to be a good dad because I decided I wanted to be a fucking good dad from the beginning. Like, you know, like I want to be able to teach her things. I want to be there for, like, most importantly is just be there for her. I think that's the one thing that most parents fuck up, is like, you gotta be around. Like, they don't give a fuck if you do anything with them. They just want you around. So that part pissed me off. And then he's talking about like how he's, you know, like Megan Fox is the love of his life, which, by the way, I had no idea that she had 3 children with the dude from 90210. I did not know that bitch squoze 3 children out of that toit little body. But I'm gonna put like a little thing on like blinking sign on the bottom that just says jewel break every time I hit it. But yeah, dude, like, so never mind about her and her tight pussy and her 3 kids. I guarantee you she was all C-section just to keep that shit. Megan Fox, show us your pussy. And also show us them thumbs. Remember that was like one of the biggest things in like 2000, maybe it's like 2008, 2009, right after Transformer, where everybody was just talking about how she had toe thumbs. Like, that has to be such a hit to the ego. Like, you're considered the hottest woman in the world at that time, and then immediately somebody just points out like, hey, but she has weird thumbs, and everybody's like, oh, fuck that shit. Fuck that weird bitch and her toe thumbs. Fucking bitch ass toe thumbs. Well, I don't even know. Oh yeah, so he's talking about like how he's like insanely in love with Megan Fox, and then he goes into how his dad died, and I guess like right after his dad died, Megan Fox had to go to like Beirut for a filming something. So she was out of the country, and there's this whole scene in the documentary where he talks about like, I was in a really fucked up place in my head, and I wasn't leaving my room. And then I just called Megan one night, and I had a shotgun barrel in my mouth. It's like, you fucking homo. And he's like, you know, I had the barrel in my mouth, and I was just like, I was freaking out, man. I was like manic, and I was freaking out, and I just kept on telling her that you're not there for me when I need you. You're not there for me when I need you. And he's like, and Megan was like, silent. Yeah, no fucking shit, dude. She was probably figuring out how she's never gonna see you again. Like, that would. that is what you call like a bitch ass cry for help. Like, if you are going to put a shotgun in your mouth, finish the fucking job. Kurt Cobain that shit, dude. You don't call somebody with a shotgun in your mouth. Be like, you know, like, what are you just crying? Like, because you can't form words with a shotgun in your mouth. So you're just like, you know, just, you know, it's just like, you're a fucking douchebag. And then to put that in your documentary, like, you made this documentary. You could have chose what hit the cutting room floor. Maybe you should have been like, that's not it. It was a weird moment in my life. And maybe, not everybody needs to know about that. But it became like a focal point. Like, I've seen like a bunch of different news sites pick it up, like Machine Gun Kelly, in a very disturbing image, calls Megan Fox with a shotgun in his mouth. And it's not disturbing. It's a bitch move. It is a little bitch move that you would do that to some, like, oh, she can't go to work. She has to be by your side at all the time. That type of codependency is unhealthy. I am no therapist, but I know that. So, anyways, he obviously doesn't kill himself because he's a pussy. And then, you know, life goes on, and they get engaged after that. Good luck. And my favorite part about them getting engaged is they had custom rings made that have like a little like sharp spike on the inside, so if they try to take it off, they're like it like pierces their skin. These fucking people, I swear to God, like, that is the dumbest shit. So, like, you know, when that marriage fails, which it will, you're just gonna have to go somewhere to get it cut off. Instead of just being able to pull your ring off your finger. You dumb mother. I can't stand some people. Like, and okay, but okay, for the little, for all the things that I hated about the documentary and about him as a pop punk musician and whatnot, the few things that I will give him credit for is he seems to be really good to his fans. There's multiple times in the documentary where like something happens where he was in like Rio de Janeiro and like the show got rained out, so he like went on Instagram Live or some shit and told all of his fans like, hey, come to the hotel I'm staying at, stand in the street, I am going to walk out on the steps and perform for you because you didn't get to see the show. And there are so many artists out there that would never. They'd just be like, oh, well, I hope you can get a refund, sorry. So I'm gonna give him props for that because that's a fucking cool move, you know, like, especially like if people are, I remember being younger and being so excited to go to a show. Like, you bought tickets months in advance and it's all you look forward to, right? You're just so pumped to you know, I might have to go to work, I might have to do this, but like it's always in the back of your mind, like, hey, I got this thing coming up. It's a motivator, right? So then if something gets canceled, something happens, it's a huge bummer because for your average person, there's not that much to look forward to. You wake up, you go to work, you take a shit, you eat, and you go back to sleep, and then eventually you die after doing that for many years. So there's a few things in life where you get to experience something fun, right? So I give him props for that because that's a cool move. And besides that, he's a douchebag. Elon Musk wants to terminate his Twitter deal, but what he should have terminated was the twins that he just had with one of his executives. I guess that story just came out. I guess like he fucked one of his executives a year ago and she had twins. That was the termination that should have happened, Elon, not the Twitter deal. I guess he's trying to pull out, but like there's a whole legal battle going on, and you know they want their, what was it, 41 million that he offered to buy it for. Yeah, I'd be pissed if you tried to tell me that I couldn't get the $41 million that you offered to buy. Um. Oh, dude. The other day at the bar, I had these two hood ass girls sitting at the bar, and I don't know if you know this for anybody that's never worked behind a bar, but for some reason, when people sit at a bar, they think that there's like this invisible wall of privacy that comes up where I can't hear anything they're talking about, and then they just talk freely about everything and anything. And I wrote this down because the quote was so brilliant that I almost wanted to stop and give this bitch a round of applause. Like but then I couldn't give up that I was listening to every fucking word she said. But like it was so good, and I'm sure she's not the first person to say this, but it's the first time I ever heard it, and I wanted to give her a fucking standing O. They were talking about like relationships and whack motherfuckers and blah 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 blah, and this girl looks at her friend and goes, "Make his dick hard, not his life, so he can make your pussy wet instead of your eyes." Yo, that shit is so good. Like, and I'm so glad that I just that's something that I heard in person. And shout out to whoever the first person is to ever say that. But that was easily one of the best things I've heard at the bar in a very long time. Second best thing I've seen at the bar in a while was last night. I'm managing, and we do a lot of takeout at my work. So people come in like, hey, and normally they walk in and they say, hey, like I have an order for David, last name Singh or whatever, and then you go and you find the bag and you give it to him, blah blah blah. Rarely does a guest walk in and just say their order number. Usually you have to get that from them. Be like, oh, can you give me your order number so I can look it up? This guy walks in and he immediately goes, hey, I'm here for order number 106. And I was like, all right, for sure. I didn't think anything of it at that time because the whole front lobby was packed with people. So I go and I'm looking and it's not there. So I go to the kitchen to see if they have it. And I was like, hey, you got order number 106? And the guys in the kitchen are like, what's the name on it? And I was like, I don't know. He didn't give it to me. Just look for the 106. And they're like, yeah, we got it right here. And they finish it up and they hand it to me. And I look at the ticket and I immediately understand why the guy didn't want to say his name in front of a room full of people, because his name is Brian Laundrie. He has the exact same name as the dude that killed Gabby Petito. And that whole debacle that happened. I mean, exactly the same exact name. And I even took a picture of the ticket, which I can't share because, it's has his like email and his phone number and shit on it. But like, it's real. Like the guy's name is fucking Brian Laundrie, which made me think about Brian Laundrie and Gabby Potatoes. And I don't know if anybody knows this, and this might be the last thing we talk about today, but I guess that after Brian Laundrie committed suicide after the whole thing with Gabby Potatoes and killing that toit little girl, he wrote in a journal. And they just recently published his journal, which has his confession in the journal. Now I'm going to read you his confession, and then we're going to discuss said confession. Okay. It starts off with a little bit of bullshit, and then it goes into what they loved as much, if not more than me, a new daughter to my mother, an aunt to my nephews. Please do not make this harder for them. This occurred as an unexpected tragedy. Rushing back to our car, trying to cross streams of, and it says illegible, before it got too dark to see, too cold. I hear a splash and a scream. I could barely see. I couldn't find her at the moment, and I shouted her name. I found her breathing heavily, gasping. She was freezing cold. The blazing hot, and then it says illegible again. It says the blazing hot national parks in Utah. So I don't know how it's freezing cold and blazing hot. It doesn't make sense, but The temperature had dropped to freezing and she was soaking wet. I carried her as far as I could. So basically, he's saying that she had fallen and like hit her head. I carried her as far as I could from the stream to the car, stumbling, exhausted, in shock. When my illegible, and I knew I couldn't safely carry her. I started a fire and spooned her as close to the heat as I could. She was so thin and had already been freezing for too long. I couldn't at the time realize that I should have started the fire first, but I wanted to get her back to the car. From there, I had started the fire and I had no idea how far the car might be. I only knew it was across the creek. When I pulled Gabby out of the water, she couldn't tell me what hurt. She had a small bump on her forehead and eventually got larger. Her feet hurt, her wrist hurt, and but she was freezing, shaken violently. While carrying her, she continually made a sound of pain. Laying next to her, there should be like sexy music playing when I do this. Um, like the story's hot. Laying next to her while like so far this sounds like it could lead up into a porn. Um, Laying next to her, she said, a little lapsing between violent shakes, gasping in pain, begging for an end to her pain. Here we go. She would fall asleep, and I would shake her awake, fearing that if she closed her eyes, she had a concussion. She would wake in pain and start the whole cycle again. Furious that I was the one waking her, she wouldn't let me cross the creek. I thought to myself that the fire would go out in her sleep and she'd freeze. I don't know what the extent of Gabby's injuries were, only that she was in extreme pain, and I ended her life, and I thought it was merciful. I thought it was what she wanted, and I could see now all the mistakes I made. I panicked. I was in shock. But for that moment, I decided to take away her pain, and I knew I could. And I knew after that I couldn't go on without her. I rushed home to spend any time I had left with my family, and I wanted to drive north and let James or TJ kill me. It must be her family. But I wouldn't want them to spend any time in jail over my mistakes, even though I'm sure that they would have liked to. I am ending my life not because I fear the punishment, but rather because I can't live another day without her. I've lost our whole future together, every moment we could have shared. I'm sorry for everyone's loss. Please do not make life harder for my family. They lost a son and a daughter, the most wonderful girl in the world, Gabby. I'm sorry. I have killed myself by this creek in hopes that animals will come tear me apart, and that will make some of her family happy. Please pick up all of my things. Gabby hated people who litter. Dude, this sounds like the biggest crock of shit. Like, like, I mean, the whole thing of like, oh, she fell and she was just in so much pain. She was in so much pain that I had to end her pain. I mean, like none of this sounds probable. Like, what sounds more likely, if you've seen the body cam footage, that you spent 5 months in a van with a very annoying girl who might have been super hot, but like sometimes there's things that outweigh the hotness. And then one day you got upset, and she probably, like, maybe she hit you, maybe something, and then you beat her head in with a rock. I think that's what happened. And now you're making up this whole story about how you can't live without her. And my favorite part is, please pick up my things because Gabby hated people that litter. Like, it's, oh God, it's such a crock of shit. But, he's dead, and I hope that the Brian Laundrie that picked up food for my work doesn't really have to deal with too many Twitter rants anymore. I'm sure that was hard for him for a while, and I'm guarantee you that's why he doesn't give anybody his name anymore. All right, let's see. Maybe there's one more thing I could talk about before I go, but I think that might be the closer. Really, okay, so really quick, one last thing. I was thinking about this the other day because I've worked in so many different bars and so many different restaurants, and I realized that family restaurants might be the most fucked up place to work. Like, the amount of shit that went on when I worked at Red Robin for 5 years from the ages of 16 to 21, the amount of drugs and drinking and fucking and sucking and all of the shit in between, the debauchery within a family restaurant is just what, like, we had a nightly bartender that would go to the bathroom every 15 minutes on the dot to do coke, and he would just run out from behind the bar and go, "I'm going to my office," and he would just bounce like everyone knew. The amount of times that I served people high on OxyContin, like full families, like little kids, and I'm just like, huh? you want you want pink or no pink in that burger, man? The amount of time, dude, the amount of times that after the doors closed, we had strippers in there, just putting their fucking pussies all over tables where a small child will eat the next day. The amount of times that people fucked in there. We had a designated fucking table. We did. La Quinta Red Robin. There was a section called the atrium. It was an aftermarket build onto the restaurant. It was a patio that got turned into an indoor part, but it had this little nook that went around the corner, so no one could see you over there unless they came and walked all the way around that corner. There was a table number 215, where everybody went to fuck. You just lay the girl down on the table and fucking rail her on the table, and everyone went there to fuck. And the tight thing is everyone that went there to fuck always had a homie that was on lookout. Straight up. So there would be a dude standing at the edge of that so he can see you fuck clearly. But then he could also see if a manager was coming to let you know to stop fucking. And yes, a couple people got caught because the lookout was watching them fuck instead of watching for a manager. But yeah, like this happened regularly. Like, we were savages. And then we would leave work and we would all go to the same house parties, and we'd all just do drugs and drink and fuck each other. One of my managers used to sell meth out the back door of Red Robin. This guy is, shout out, I'm not going to say his full name because he's completely different now, but shout out to my old manager. His name was Danny, and he was the tightest little cholo, and he had like a fucking full sleeve of Raiders tattoos. And he would come in, it didn't matter. We were in the desert, right? 120 degrees in the summer. And he would come in every day wearing a fucking trench coat. And inside that trench coat was like 2 9mm and a bunch of clips for an AK. And then he had more guns in his backpack that he carried with him every day. And then a shit ton of meth. And once it hit like 9 p.m., you would just see him like pop out the back door for a minute, boom, boom, and just transactions all night long. And then he would use it as his place to sell. Like, he would stay there till like 4 a.m, just slinging fucking meth out the back door of Red Robin. And I've talked to many other people that have worked at like Applebee's and fucking Chili's and Chuck E. Cheese and all this shit, and you will not find places more fucked up than family restaurants. And I just want you to think about that the next time you take your kids out, that they are probably eating off of a table that has had pussy juice and semen all over it. This has been the worst. Thank you for watching. Like, rate, review, subscribe, all that bullshit. I'm out.